Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I realize our camera clips sometimes through the ground, and which causes us, well, do that. We'll fix it. Okay. So, first things first, something simple. I want to get some ambience into the game so that we're not just floating in silence. Let's see. I'm gonna make an audio folder. In the audio folder, I'm gonna do music. And in the music folder, ambience. Okay. I'm going to transfer to this folder. We have 2 ambience soundtracks. Okay. And then the rest is just music. I believe the rest is music. Let's see. Oh yeah, you don't hear that because dang it. That's why. Oh boy. Okay, I need to connect some stuff. There's a cable which I had connected, but since disconnected, as I was moving a bunch of hardware to a new rack mount case. Oh boy. Okay, not to worry. It is. There we go. Okay. At the expense of a little bit of ear explosion. I think we should be back in business now. Yes. Okay. These are one-time stems. They will play once and then move on back to the ambience. Yeah, cool. So, okay, so the way we can go about handling this is we have, what do we have? We have an ambience, which is always in the background, and then we have soundtracks. Okay, now we're likely gonna do a separate node called OST handler. We're gonna save this scene. Objects. It's not UI. It's more audio based. OST handler, and then we're gonna load it up as a singleton. Beautiful. Okay. Let's attach a script. Fantastic. So what we need to do is we need to set up ambiences, a dictionary. So ambience db, and we're going to bring both of these in here. Well, that's interesting. Never seen it do that before. Okay. Oh man. Control Shift. Control. Okay. No, that's not it. Really? Oh. It's gonna like create variables for me now. Son of a gun. Ah. Why? Now I have to type preload myself. God damn it. You had a perfectly fine system. No, you had to ruin it. Okay. AmbientDB, OSTDB. These are for importing the actual soundtracks. Okay. Now, we have a developer panel, dev panel. I would actually like for this to be called dev info. We are going to have to replace all of these mentions. Dev info. We're going to make it invisible. And then we need to give ourselves the ability to actually control these. Now let me see. Dev info. If I do this and I assign the key here myself, is that going to break anything? Okay, if input is action just pressed, dev info. I think I had an exception specifically made to not show dev shortcuts. I vaguely recall something of such nature. So we're going to make it visible equals not visible. Alright, let's see. Okay, so that seems to work. And then here, dev info did actually get a record, but I guess that is what that is. Yeah, we don't have any other ones. All right, fair enough. Maybe we should actually go and what is it? Disable any dev prefix buttons from showing up. Let's see, pause menu. Is that what we do it? Do not. There's a mapping menu. Okay. Get actions. If the action begins with the word dev, continue. I don't know if that's going to break anything. Sure. Okay, the UI stuff is skipped, so we already do something like this. Yes. And then we go here, and no dev. Beautiful. Okay. So, how are we going to handle this? Well, mapping menu. Do we have a master node? We better have a master node. We do have a master node. Okay, so the master node is where we can store our generic information. Let's go ahead and store current location zone. Let's call this entry zone. That's the place where we start. And then in the audio handler, OST handler, we will need to have it launch an ambience based on the zone that where it's located. Okay. Now how can we do that? We could store these values as sub-dictionary key value pairs. In which case, we can simply check the zone we're currently located in. Is the currently loaded ambient soundtrack one of these? If it is, then don't do anything because it's already playing. If not, play one of these soundtracks. Okay. So, var current ambience start as null. So, if ambience database, we're going to access master node. Oh, I swear. Is that not master under no master caps node? It is there. Master node.current location has, if it has the current ambience, I don't need this to be a multi-line. I don't know why I did that. Then nothing really has to be done. But if it's false, then we need to play one of the ambiences. Now, playing a sound by itself is easy, but we need to handle it in, I think, in more of a general purpose way. We need to basically make something like an audio sound layer object, and the job of that is going to play back, fade in, and fade out the sound as needed. So we are going to create an audio stream player object. So this is going to be OST layer. We're going to save it. Objects audio OST layer. That's perfect. We're going to attach a script, which is going to go to script audio OST layer. Beautiful. Don't need this. What are we going to do here? OST handler. Create ambience for this zone. Cool. So we're going to need to instantiate one of these OST layers. Like this. And then we do var new ambience equals OST layer preload dot instantiate. Then in the OST handler, we're going to create another node, which is going to be ambiences. Cool. We're going to add the child of new ambience. We are going to tell the new ambience to set the stream to be one of the soundtracks based on the current location zone. Okay, so we do what? I think we don't actually need this to be a dictionary. We just make this be an array. maybe. Hopefully. Okay, Ambience DB. And then we need to access one of the values from here. So that's going to be based on a random integer, which in turn is limited by the size of entries in the ambiences that are defined. Okay, now we could have it automatically start playing. Maybe we should. Autoplay, which means we should actually set this before we do this. And then after we add the child, we should hear the soundtrack playing, and current ambience is going to have to be set to the value that we chose. Chosen ambience, so we're going to set it in both cases. This is for the audio player to play, and this is for our record to know which one is currently being played, which one's the active ambience. Now we could avoid this entire variable by just getting the first node in the ambiences node, and then asking its stream and then see what it is. But, you know, might have to just work with this. Okay, how do we prevent it from doing it multiple times? If ambience current zone, that's an array now, has, right now it's null, so it doesn't have null in it. So we create a new layer, set the chosen ambience, set the stream to that ambience, add the child, which prompts it to start playing, and then current ambience becomes chosen, whichever one we chose, which is one of the values from the array. So now this should be true. Okay. Got it. All right. Let's pray for our ears. Hopefully it doesn't blow our ears out. No? Okay. I can hear it. Now, these ambiences are supposed to be looping. Loop, re-import. Cool. Okay, now is it going to be the same every time? So far, there's only two to choose from. Right. Okay. What happens when we need to do two of them? Okay. To test this, we need to establish some sort of a system for launching soundtracks. Which honestly, if that's the case, we may just have to treat this as a dictionary, just for the sake of easily storing key value pairs. That might just have to be the case. Okay, now how does that change this code? Well, this is now a dictionary. We're looking for has key. I believe dictionaries have has key method. Has keys, has key. There we go. That's good. So if it has a key, current ambience will contain that key. And that should prevent this from running again. Now, this we might have a problem with. We need to choose a random key from here. Random ambience key. We're going to access that dictionary. We're going to access keys. We're going to choose a random key based on the size. I don't know if it has a size. It does. Yes, it does. Gives us the size. And then from that we have the key. We're going to access that key. And we're going to store that key, which we can just do this right away. Okay, now this gives us the option of only working with keys, which are easier to represent in things like developer panels, which is what we're going to need to do right now. So we have a dev panel. Dev panel. You can't see it, but we are going to make a panel container. Okay. We're going to have a VBox container, a label. The label will say OSTs and ambiences. We are going to give it another VBox container. And within this VBox container, we're going to need to do OST list. OSTs. All right. In the ready function, we're going to take this node. We're going to need to loop through however many soundtracks we have. So 4 zones in OST handler. Variable is ambience db. And then within the ambience db, we have zones. Within the zones, we have soundtracks or ambiences. So we're going to do for ambience in, and then we're going to delve deeper. We're going to delve into the zone, and then we have access to both levels of that dictionary. Okay, so var new btn button new. I'm going to make a new button. The text of that button is going to be zone plus colon plus the ambience key. And then we're going to add child of new button. Okay, we should see something now. There we go. Except non-existent function has been called. Has key. Has is the function. Key is what we provide. There we go. Cool. Maybe just for visibility, put a space here. Okay. That's good. I would like to do another list. Technically, this one's just going to be called ambiences. This one, soundtracks. Soundtracks are usually one-time soundtracks, one-time events, for the most part. Unless we're talking about a specific looping soundtrack, which honestly could really be handled as an ambience. Okay. So, what do we do here? When we press one of these buttons, we need to launch a new ambience. So we are going to do connect. New button. Connect. Where are we connecting? What signal are we connecting? Button up or button down? Yeah. Okay, callable. What function are we calling? Well, we need to not only call a function, we also need to send some additional data into it. So we're going to make a new callable, send it to self, which is this script, and this node. The method is called var dev start ambience. Unless we can skip this whole thing. Just send it directly to the audio handler, OST handler. Let's see. Let's do func play ambience. We need zone and then soundtrack. Ambience key. Let's do that. Zone key and ambience key. This is what we need to send into the function for it to do its job. What are we going to do here? We actually do this. Okay, and then move this here. Current. The zone is this one, which comes from the master node. But the ambience key, well, that has to be random. So let's set it to null here, which is we're sending null. And we're going to make it null here, which is just one equal sign. And if it is null, we're going to randomly choose the key. Okay. If it is null, then random ambience key could really just be overwritten here in this case. Okay, so if it is null from here, it will be overwritten with a random one. Otherwise, it will just be used directly as is, and then this is going to be set. Cool, so we have now a function that can be used to launch a new ambience. So we're going to go back to the developer panel, make use of that function. So we're not going to be sending it to self then. We're going to be sending it to OST handler. The function is going to be called play ambience, and then we are going to be binding two parameters to it. First, the zone from which we grab an ambience. I think that's basically it. Okay. While we are here, we are going to make sure that OSTs is invisible, and we need a button to bring up the OSTs panel. So dev OSTs. Okay. Let's do F4. Okay. And then here, same sort of concept. Dev OSTs. There we go. That should do it. So this should help us bring it, hide it, and reveal it. Hopefully this works. Okay, so 4. Nice. Now, I'm going to need to reveal or unlock the mouse. Input mouse mode equals, it's going to be visible if this is visible, else input mouse mode captured. Okay, so when we press on it, it's going to unlock the mouse so we can actually use the panel. F4. Oh boy. Interesting. We should probably prevent any sort of movement if a dev panel is open. We can do that by making a master node variable. Dev panel open. Okay. We might end up getting some conflicts with this, but let's see. Master node, dev panel open equals whether or not the soundtrack panel is visible. And this is only taking place once when we press a button, so I think it's okay. Now this can now be used, I believe, in the input event, specifically just to prevent mouse motion. So if master node pause menu open or inventory open or dev panel open, return. All right, just a little sanity check. Okay, there we go. Now I would imagine this is where we should hear something. There are 2 ambiences here. Okay. The first one is the one that we kept not hearing. Cool. Okay. Good. Good. Now, where does this bring us? Well, we cannot have 2 ambiences playing over one another. We need to make one fade out, make the other one fade in. So, I think what we can do here, what can we do here? Let's add the OST layer to a group. Except I think we might have to do it here. New ambience, add group, add to group, ambience group, ambience layer group. Okay, so this instanced ambience is going to be part of the group called ambience layer group, and we're going to do for each ambience in get tree, get nodes in the group called ambience layer group. We're going to do what to it? We need to fade them out. Now we could make a function inside of the OSC layer, or we could just handle it here by making a tween. Create tween. We're going to do tween property of each ambience. The property is volume dB. we would like to reach -40, so it's going to be pretty silent over the duration of 2 seconds. And that's going to happen on each ambience that hasn't been created yet. So once this rolls in, that's the new ambience, it will just start playing. We also need to make this tween destroy this node, the ambience, which we, again, can do from here. We're going to make a callable. The callable will be executed on each ambience. The method is queue-free. Okay, I don't know if I need parentheses there. Pretty sure I don't. Hey, Grim, welcome back. Unless you're not the same Grim. The numbers confuse me. Welcome, Grim number 2177. Please take a seat. Okay, so each ambience queue-free. So that should destroy it. And with that, we've pretty much handled all of the destruction of the previous layers. Let's see if this actually works, though. The same one. Ah, yes. See, that's exactly what a skinwalker would say. Alright, so I can do... Nice. Wait. Is that working? It's very faint. No. Never mind. Oh yeah, that's right. We have to call randomize in order to get true random numbers. Well, okay. There we go. Been a while since I saw Dev this project. Yeah, I had a pocket of inactivity, but seems like we're making up for it. We only have 1 day a week for this project, so trying to make the most of it is definitely definitely on the bill. Okay, since we're on the subject of having soundtracks playing, and we're 30 minutes in, so we might as well dedicate the rest of this 1 hour to this feature. Let's get the soundtracks to also play back. So we have OST-DB. We need to go dev panel, and then for OST in, OST handler, OST-DB. We can repeat this process, except a couple of changes. So first of all, no zones, just OST. Second of all, destination of where we add this to the developer panel. We want to add it to, oh yeah, this is OST list. This should be ambience list. There we go. And then this is OST list. Cool. The button that's going to be called, I don't know why I'm complaining about it, zones is not declared. Yeah, that makes sense, because we only have one key here. New button, button down. We're going to also send it to OST handler, but the function is going to be called play OST. Okay, func. Largely, it will act in the same manner. You know, making the submodel, some blend, and prototyping the mining laser. Oh yes, yes, that's long behind us. I got the whole system up and running, even to the point where I got the player to hold the controllers of the ship on the inside. Yeah, I can just take a look at that because I haven't seen that in a while. Pop, pop, pop. There we go. Or not, apparently. Ah, right. I'm in the middle of getting this thing to work. Okay. This should be okay. Nice. Oh god. Oh no. That's right. We've established a height. I cannot surpass that height. Dang it. Alright. Just get my butt over here. Where is it? I can already foresee a problem with the player trying to fly this thing above the y-axis. Probably don't want this scene. Okay, there we go. So yeah, if I get in here... That's right, we're gonna have to get rid of the shimmering effect on the inside of the ship. And then the character's hands are like, yeah, let's control this thing. Whoops. Yeah, but this is just for the desktop view. Once I have the basics for the player in desktop, I'm gonna switch over to doing the same thing for VR mode. I think the joysticks are pretty much still in place. Okay, dev panel. Dev panel is going to call play ambience. Nope. Play OST. Go here. Play OST. Cool. What does that entail? Well, if we have an OST playing already, we'll probably want to cancel it. So same concept here, except the layer group names are different. Ambience layer will be OST layer group. And then when we create a new layer, it is going to be given a group, OST layer group. It's not going to be added to ambiences. That's a different folder, different node. OSTs is what we want. That's where the destination of it's going to go. And what's next? We're going to do OST key. Instantiate, put it in a group. I don't know if we really need this part. OST key should always be provided. So we're not going to do this. And we're not going to be accessing a random key. We're going to be providing that key. And then there's no need to record it because that's not required. And we can further shrinkify this. There we go. Beautiful. All right. That should work. Give it a test. And then which one do we want to do? Slow swim? Oh, we crashed. Ah, right. It would help if we actually had it. No, we do have it. It's just not in the Ambiences database. It's over here in the soundtracks database. Okay. Whoopsie. Okay, we're still crashing. Entry zone. There is no such thing. We are not dealing with zones anymore. The soundtracks are directly inside of OSTDB. And just for the sake of keeping the naming convention correct, rename that. Beautiful. Bobbity boop, boopity bop. Okay, that works. Cool. Let's implement an extra feature, like a stop all soundtracks type thing. Let's go to Dev Panel. Okay. Ambience list button. Stop all ambiences. Duplicate. Stop all OSTs. That is going to be the name and the text. Get the button down signal. Cool. All right. So we can quite literally just yoink this thing. Func stop all ambiences. Or ambience I or whatever. Run that here. Func stop all OSTs. Beautiful. So now here we can do dev OSD handler stop. Well, gotta save it, otherwise you're not gonna get code suggestions. We're not gonna get code suggestions anyways, apparently. Okay, fine. Be that way. Stop all ambiences. So that's, we're gonna call it here, and then on OSTs. Stop. Yep. I don't know what's up. I don't know why it's not showing me the suggestions. Maybe I gotta delete the .godot folder again for whatever reason. That usually seems to be a solution to engine issues. Okay, stop all OSTs button, stop all ambiences. So that should work. Okay, stop all. Nice. So the ambience is supposed to be there as the environmental sound that fills in the silence. Because if it's just silence, it's not really that nice. So ambiences are usually good to be atonal. so they're not stuck to a particular key, otherwise the soundtrack and the ambience might clash together. So that's why for ambiences I usually go for like crackling noises, maybe some deep rumbles, white noise, anything that's atonal. All right. Cool. So, I mean, the system's in place. All I gotta do is just write a bunch of music. Kind of the main reason why I'm in this whole mess. um, right. All right. Anyways. Cool. So, what do we got here? Well, that's 54 minutes right there. Uh, what was on the list? What did I want to do? I wanted to do the soundtrack system, right? Ambience. That's in here. Um, Something to do with survival, gameplay mechanics, making it all actually work like a game. So that's what I'm gonna do in a little bit. Let's end this video here. I'm gonna take a short break. Be back and we'll continue. Alrighty. I totally do not know if that intro actually finished entirely or if I cut it off early. But here we are. Let's start with oxygen. Let's get ourselves an item that acts as an oxygen tank. We can go up to it and refill our own onboard oxygen with it. And this is going to be something that you can deploy. Okay, let's see about saving this. Assets, models. These are technically inventory items. So this would be not exactly an oxygen tank. This would be a refueling station or oxygen. Let's do oxy top up. Oxy top up station. Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay. Let's join this together. Auto smooth. Mm-hmm. Interesting. We do need some dials. Indicators of how full this thing is. Hmm. Okay. Not entirely sure if this is really that appropriate of a design. Let's mirror it across this axis. Mm-hmm. Okay, that should work. We're gonna convert this mesh. I'm gonna join with the main body. And then we do need to do one thing here. We need to make the bar. And the bar, we're gonna handle like a 3D object. Okay, so we're gonna set origin right there so that if we scale it, it scales this way. We're gonna drop it down here. And then we can scale it up like that. That's the maximum. And the minimum is down here. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna apply scale. Yep. We are going to mirror this thing on the y-axis. So when I scale it down, it actually shows like it's depleting. Okay. Now we do need an inventory icon. We are going to export it. So let me just do, what is it? This is going to be controllable. So we need GLTF so that the bar remains as a separate object. engine, models, inventory, interactable props, inventory items. Oxy top-up station. Godot. Probably a good idea to name them. It's not just blank stuff. There we go. Okay. Body. Fill bar. Select that again. All right. We have hydrogen fuel cells that we created. And it looks like... Can we just copy from this? Maybe. Save as. Okay, inventory items, Octi top-up station. Oh, I need GLTF. Oh, that is big. Okay. Cursor back to world origin. Transform around cursor. Scale 0.5. Apply scale. Let's export that again. That's much more like it. Still a little too big though. I guess we'll see. Get rid of the mesh. Collision shape has to be made unique. As a matter of fact, I think one collision shape is not going to be enough here. You know, I think there's a particular universal feeling when it comes to finishing a game, especially one that is allowing you to traverse the environment after you finish the game. There's just this very melancholic, lonely feeling that you get. Like the world has ended. You're still playing it, you're still in there, but the consequences have more or less stopped. Right? And the world has pretty much been almost like frozen in time, and you're alone in it, despite having NPCs and stuff. And I wonder if it's possible to capitalize on that feeling. Okay, what is this? This is inventory hydrogen receptacle. I'm gonna apply generic inventory item here. Grab location, grab rotation. I don't think these things are relevant anymore. Let's see. Oxy top-up station. Dark orange. And the fill bar is going to be orange. Okay. Looking good. We're going to need to go to the master node, define this item. Okay, the scene. And the icon. Okay, since we're making an icon, we need to set the dimensions. 128 by 128 pixels. Nice square. The view, connect. Nope. There we go. We just need to pin the camera to the view, like that. We're gonna focus, if we can. I'm gonna make an empty here so I can focus on it. There we go. No, don't want to waste too much inventory, icon space. So we're gonna maximize the amount of room this thing takes up within the icon dimensions. Okay, transparent. Yep, and what? Need to copy the colors from one of the other, the lights from one of the other nodes. Subluminous assets, models, inventory items, hydrogen cell. Yes. Okay. This and this. Copy. Return. GX5 minus. GX 2.5 minus. Oh my god. Just, alright, we'll just hand it. Okay, this will do. Render image. Save. Sublinaris. Engine. Sprites. UI. Inventory items. There we go. Now, do we have a developer panel with which to give these items? I don't think we do. Nope, we might actually have found the next thing that we need to do to get this to work. Okay, so this would be F2. Alright. Cool. Oh, dang it. Come on. So we'll do dev item db. F2. Okay, fix that. Alrighty. Dev panel. For item key in master node, item database, what do we do? Well, we need to establish some sort of a place for us to spawn these items. So we're going to do dev panel. Dev panel. Yes. Isn't the icon supposed to be PNG, not GLB? Well, that's the icon. The GLB is the raw mesh data, and then TSCN is the actual item itself. So, technically you are correct, and technically nothing is wrong. There's the icon. Cool. All right. Panel, container. Grid. What? Grid. Grod. I am Grod. Okay, grid container. There we go. Item DB. Okay. Dev item list. Okay, let's make it have how many? 8 columns. Your configuration is the GLB path. If that's the case, then I guess, yes. I would not have found this until I actually tried establishing the developer panel for items. Thank you very much. Saved me that load of trouble. Okay, let's go to base vessel. Not base vessel. Developer panel. There we go. Cool. What do we do? Well, I think we're just going to reuse our player's inventory items, which means var inventory has to be present in the developer panel. Okay, and then what are we going to do here? Copy over items from item DB. That's the first step, because we don't want to be directly doing stuff with the item database. Okay, so inventory. We're going to identify an index of the item we're looping through. Database find item key. And then in the inventory, we'll access the inventory slot with that number, and we shall put into it the data corresponding to that key, except we need to duplicate it, and we need to do deep duplication. That is correct. And for now, that's all that I need. All I have to do now is create as many inventory slots as there are items. So inventory slot desktop, that's what we're going to be using. Var inventory, what is this? We're going to inv slot preload. We're going to be preloading into it. The desktop inventory slot. And then here, var new slot equals the preloaded one. We instantiate it. We will add child of new slot. Technically, that's it. That should just work. Or crash. That's also an option. Find. We can't do find. We can do keys. And then in the keys, we find this particular item key. Because keys gives us an array of all the keys in the dictionary as an array. Okay, wow, everything is a mushroom. Nice, I love it. Is in group on null instance, null instance. Now what's happening here? Inventory node has not been populated. Makes sense. because it's the player who populates that data, or in the case of the developer panel, it's the developer panel that populates that data, the reference to the node that owns the inventory. And the reason being is because sometimes I think we may need to point that information to different items or different nodes. What now? Isn't group on base null instance? Well, duh. Did we do it too late? inv node. inv node. But this is null instance. So we probably should do it after we add it as a child. There we go. Ah, damn it. The orientation is incorrect. Son of a gun. Okay, it's gotta orient in the top right. All right. The ugly duckling. Cool. Nice. Everything else is really bright. That one icon is kind of dark. That's okay. Gets the job done. That's good. We need to be able to show and hide that panel. Dev item DB. Then we are going to tell the item DB to be the opposite of its own visibility property. Okay, and then also that means we need to do this. Might as well just move this in the chronological order of the way our panels appear. The mouse node has to be made visible or invisible, and we also need to make the def panel open variable be updated so that we can move our mouse freely without rotating the player camera. Beautiful. Don't work. Why not? Ah, it's sampling the wrong node. Nice. So we haven't actually programmed the ability to move stuff between the inventory slots. So I suppose that's gonna be our next step. Okay, we're 30 minutes in. Maybe that shouldn't take us too much work. Let's go to the player. Okay, so what does it mean to move stuff? Stats. Oxygen UI. Yeah, that's actual in-game stats. Let's give it a texture rect. Okay, so inv item transfer icon. We're going to call it clearly this time. We are going to put it into a group so we can talk to it from anywhere. That's not the panel I want. Inv item transfer group. Good. We're going to talk to inventory slot here. What do we want to do? In the process function, let's make a function called clicking. Or should we just handle it here? Okay. Has item. So we check if it has an item. Then, if input is action just pressed, and what are we doing? Left click, left action. We do need to make sure the mouse is in, or let's make our life easier. We're just gonna do the button pressed event. Button down, button down. Sure. There we go. And we'll just paste it in here. So if we have an item, don't need this anymore, then we need to, if we click on the item with the left click, we need to transfer it to that temporary variable. What temporary variable? We don't have one. We could put one in the player, or we can put one in the master node. I think the master node might make more sense because we have access to it from within anywhere. Let's do var inv item utem transfer. Set it to null. Going back to the desktop icon. So we're gonna do master node inv item transfer will contain the item that this inventory slot is responsible for. Now, that transfers that there, which means the inventory has to erase this item under this number. So it's not in the inventory anymore. Okay. We do have to make sure transfer. Man, this word, I keep misspelling it. I cannot help it. My sausage fingers. Transfer. Transfer. Jesus. It's that and exercises. Can't spell for shit, man. Okay. We're gonna check if master node dot inventory item transfer empty. Empty or is empty? Is empty. So that dictionary is empty, but that might be a problem because we don't actually define it as a dictionary. We define it as null. So we could just define it as a dictionary, and this way we can check if it's empty. Okay. Plus a little bit neater that way because we're working with the same data type everywhere. If it's empty, transfer the data, erase from the inventory. Now, if not, okay, now I know I could just do an else here, but I'd like to be able to read this because I know this code's gonna grow more and more once we start doing things like stacking and you know, all the math involved with that and halving the stack and all the same stuff we've done in the other prototypes. This is going to be better to be able to read this. So elif, if it's not empty, and if item transfer, actually this already checks for both. Elif not, if we don't have this item, and then if the transfer is not empty, so there is something there, we're going to say into this inventory slot under this slot number, we're going to store whatever's in here. Whatever's in here is going to become empty dictionary, so we just override it with a whole brand new data type or brand new empty data structure, and that's it. That should allow us to transfer it. All we have to do now is make it display it. Okay. Let's go to the player. We're going to make sure that this node does not interfere with our other user interface stuff, so we're going to make it ignore the mouse. Interface process. Okay, so if master node is empty, not, then this node will have to set its texture to be whatever the icon is. Is it icon or is it item icon? It's usually item, it's just icon, okay. That's going to show what the icon is. Else, if it is empty, texture is null. Also, this node position is going to have to be the position of the mouse, which we can acquire through the viewport. Get global, or just get mouse position in the viewport. Okay, we'll have to offset it, and we'll have to do some stuff with centering it, but I think that should do some behavior, some work. Okay. Well, it tried so hard. Got so far. Transfer. Invalid texture. Texture. On base texture rect with the type string. Right. Should make sure we actually load the texture. Nice. Oh, that's giant. Okay, it works, but that's huge. Right. Also, this UI, we need to give it a layer that isn't gonna be covered up by the dev panel. Maybe. Which means I think our post-process effect is gonna be... No, actually it's unaffected. This is affected, though. Okay. Why is that the case? Because our dev panel is on layer 10. Which, you know, it makes sense. Sure. It's not like it's a big deal. It's a little annoying, but... Let's make sure this is on 15, so screen effects are on top of everything? Nah, that's gonna make it affect inventory. Alright, let's set this to 5. And the player UI is going to be 10. Probably could have just used negative numbers. Yes. Oh god. The screen effects are affecting the inventory now. That's not good. So we know that the player's inventory is 10. So screen effects would have to be 9. Screen effects. Layer 9. Alright. All because I wanted to display the developer panel beneath the player's inventory. Oh, dear God, man. Come on. Okay, so in that case, the screen effects are pretty much the last thing. Screen effects. So let's do this 5. And then dev panel is 6. And then player is 10. Okay. Finally. Jeez. Okay, that's good. Size. So first things first. Let's do top up station. That's how big that is. All the icons are 128 by 128, so we're gonna do fit width. Yup. Layout. Custom minimum size. 40 by 40 is okay. Pivot. I don't think that actually matters. And then we need to offset it by half of its size, so 20 by 20. So minus vector 2, 20 pixels by 20 pixels, and that should center the sucker. Nice. Yeah, it gets a little bit smaller. That's good. Now, the developer panel isn't supposed to lose the item. That's not supposed to be how it works. Dev item list. So we're gonna go to the slot. Here, if the inventory has this item, we transfer it. Instead, we're going to duplicate all of its data, and then here, if get parent name is not developer item list, then we're going to erase this item data. And then we're not supposed to be able to deploy anything in here. So if the slot is empty, technically it should never be. If the slot is not empty and name is get parent name is not equals to this, just for good measure, you never know, then we'll allow it to have stuff be put into it. Technically, once we do item swapping, so both you are holding something and the slot has something, you wanna swap it out. There we go. Okay, cool. Well, that works. Our first slot is the empty slot, right? Or not? No, we just have the hotbar. Hotbar selector blocks our mouse. Selected border. Do not do anything. Amount. Ignore. Icon. Oh. Ignore. Nice. Okay. Man, it's quite curious how much different the developer panel for items is in Dread Tales than it is here. This seems more standardized. We can do this. Okay, I need to be able to drop things. Now, to drop something, we need to make sure that our mouse has been clicked and it is not inside of the inventory slot, or any slots for that matter. Oh boy, okay. And this is kind of a drag, to be honest. How many panels do we have? We have a developer panel. We have, what do we have? We have developer panel, we have inventory panel, we have hotbar panel, and a whole bunch of other panels. Panel container. No, that's the whole menu that we hide. So we need to make sure that when we're clicking, a part of me is kind of thinking to create a really big button and just place it behind everything, all of the interface. And then if the player clicks on that button, which would only happen when the player isn't overlapping with anything else, that would act as the player dropping that thing. Now, it's really dumb, but in my opinion, that might actually be more efficient than writing a custom script that checks if the mouse happens to be located within any of panels that have mouse interactions with them. I swear, if this actually works, we'll do a button. Maybe we can do it right in the middle. So not the full screen, but right in the middle. We're going to place it over here behind everything. So drop item button. Okay. We're going to do style box empty. So there's no visual presentation here. Okay. And then do button down. Okay. So if master node item inventory item transfer is empty, false, or we could just do this like we've done for the other cases, then we need to instantiate a new item. Okay, so we do var item equals, we will access the scene, we will load that scene, we will instantiate it, we do get tree current scene add child. And then we need to position it in front of our camera. So I'm gonna add a node 3D. We're gonna position it right here, a little bit down. And this is item drop node. And later on we'll probably switch it to a raycast, so we can't face things through walls, stuff like that. Actually, let's just do that right now. Okay. As a matter of fact, we're gonna do a shape cast, so that we don't get a point that's on the ground, but get a point that's just above the ground. So item drop ray. Okay, the ray is pointing downwards. We're gonna make it point -z. There it is. -z 1.5. Sure. Yep, and then we're gonna give it a shape. The shape is going to be a small sphere. And by small, I mean actually small. Like about this big. Nice. Now we need to tell this ray to ignore our player. And we're also probably going to have to make it ignore whatever item we might be holding. We'll do that later. So this is player. In the ready function, make item drop ray ignore player. Because the player is a rigid body, but it's not a direct parent of the ray. So add exception self. Cool. I think that's about it. So going back down, we're gonna do get Let's do item drop ray, get collision point. Collision point. And then when we add it as a child, we are going to do item dot global position equals collision point. And then we need to erase the data. Mm-hmm. Okay. It still has a visual component to it. Well, it tried. It definitely tried. What is the issue? Get collision point to base shape cast 3D expected 1 argument. Really? Index. First collision. Which, if there are no collisions, I think it should just give me the length of the ray. Or the position at the tip of the ray. Hopefully. Oh. Oh, okay. Interesting. Did I screw up the positioning? Global position. Get collision point. Returns the collision point of one of the multiple collisions at index where the shape intersects with the colliding object. This point is in global coordinate system. Yes. Okay. And then in the player, item, global position equals collision point. So maybe it is colliding with the player. Let's do this. If this node is colliding, then we do this point. I guess we can just instantiate it. And then when it comes to positioning it, we're going to position it based on this node. Else, if it's not colliding, I guess we will probably have to have a node 3D. Yeesh, come on. Node 3D. Position it here. Item drop ray. Item drop point. Okay. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe that's what we gotta do. Because maybe if it doesn't collide with anything, it just returns 0, 0. That doesn't make too much sense. Okay. Well, that's curious now. If it is colliding, print. Give me whatever the heck you're colliding with. I want to know. Get collider. 0. Unless, hold on, is colliding. Unless it wants number 1. Returns collision point on multiple collisions. Intersects colliding. This point is a global axis. Okay. Get colliding normal. Get collision count. Get collider. Returns the collider object. at index. Well, it doesn't say that it starts with 1, so it's got to start with 0, and I guess we'll see it. I also want to get rid of some prints. Water dist amount 0. Okay. Get rid of that. Okay, let's see. Huh. So it wasn't colliding with anything. Hmm. Fascinating. Because it would have printed the collision. Well, that makes sense. It wasn't colliding with anything. Duh. It was... It only proves that we did set up exceptions correctly. It's not complaining about unable to instance anything, so it did actually do it. And we saw it appear, so that's not a problem. It does get cleared. Maybe it's just not far enough away. Oh, hold on a sec. It's a rigid body, and we're insisting on where it should be located, so maybe it just spazzes out. Hold on a second. Linear velocity. Vector 3, 0, 0, 0. Right, that might be it. Oh, what the? What? How? Excuse me? That's not what I told you to do. Drop item button down. Why is it adding to our inventory? We instantiate the scene. We add it as a child of the level. Master node inventory item transfer gets cleared. What? What are you talking about? Okay, there's some shenanigans happening here. Hold on a sec. Let me actually do this. Print item drop pressed. And then we're also going to do item drop. And that's it. So we do here. Item drop pressed and item drop. That is probably an issue with item slot. Item slot desktop. Okay, let's go take a look at that. On button down. Could it be that the button is in focus? We do require to click on it. We're required to click on the button. This is where the item goes to that inventory slot. That is weird. Maybe it's the player? This only displays the information. This doesn't actually transfer it. Okay. Well, let's return out of here. And let's see if we still experience us magically snatching the item. Okay, so it does not. Oh, I know why. God dang it. I know exactly why. It's because we instantiate the item. It appears in front of us. The left click is still registered. So it picks up the item because that's how a pickup code works. We look at the item, we left click, we pick it up. Dang it. Oh my god. Why must I suffer this much? Okay. Oh boy. Alright. So, what do? Do we negate the pickup code for one frame after we drop it? Or do we lock the item pickup ability for a single frame? Man. That is a doozy. I guess we can have a variable. Item just dropped, false. We will go here. Item just dropped, true. Prevent from picking the item that was just dropped. Okay. So any place where we're using our inventory. Which would be left action. Oh man. Place the item in the first available inventory slot. Yes. This seems incomplete. Huh. Interact process. If item just dropped is true, then item just dropped is false, and then we return. Can I do this as one line? Yes, I can. Maybe. Hopefully. Hopefully it's not just going to run return. Okay, well, that should delay our pickup code by one frame exactly, which should be imperceptible. And there we go. That works. Maybe place it a little bit further from our face, which means maybe we might just be able to not rely on that node. Let's see. Can we do that? And this? Can we do it correctly? Okay. Get the collision point. Place it there. Oh. Okay, it's not quite right. Right, I think that's the center of the scene. Yeah, so it looks like we will have to use this. Because if there's no collision, it doesn't give me the location of the tip. It gives me the 000 coordinate. And I don't think I need this. Also, the Oxy top-up station is not supposed to fall. It's supposed to float. Because that's how we deploy it. Okay. Gravity scale, 0. I sure hope that the generic item code does change it. Okay. Dang it. We don't want that to be the case. So disable fall. And then it's going to be equals to 0.0 if disable fall is true, else it will be 0.01. Oxy top-up station is going to have that enabled. And that's it. Whew, man. Okay. All right, so the only thing I need to do is hide that rectangle. And we can do that by propagating the style to all style elements here. All right, well, we figured out the issue. God, I'm running on fumes. Jeez. Drop. Nice. Now, here's an interesting component. This right here. Man, the shimmer effect is way too strong. This right here needs to be interactable. But we also need to be able to pick it up. So, what, pray tell, do we interact with? I might be able to place something over here. And then we interact with this component to top up our oxygen. Okay, but that's besides the point. What was I completely lost train of thought. I was going to fix something. Let's run it again. Was it the text? Because it says test anytime I'm looking at it. Oh, shimmer. Shimmer is too strong. Right. 0.01. Let's do that. It really needs to be a subtle effect. Yeah, there we go. More or less. That don't look like subtle effect. Okay. Started subtle. Yeah, so we can take... Oh, the test is the internal label. Right. Don't need that. Okay. So. Here we have this. Well, actually, here we have a moment when I need to take a break. So, let's do that. Break time. Alrighty. Got myself a little bit of passion fruit tea. Man, love this stuff. Okay. So, how are we going to handle the top up for our oxygen? Well, we need some sort of an interactable zone. And I think the way I'm going to handle it in this game is we'll just have an overlapping shape here that acts as an interaction zone. Now, we have something that already acts as an interaction zone, I think, on salutation. This thing right here, which is really present in both vessels. Vessel enter hatch. It is in the group called interact group. Cool. All right. So we're going to do an area node. Give it a shape. That shape is going to be a rakudanguru. We'll move that up here. Beautiful. All right. Area. This is interact group. Now, how does the interact group work in the player? Because we might need to modify it a little bit. If interact collider is in group interact group, then we will tell that interact collider to run its interact code. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a modification here. We're going to say if it itself doesn't have an interact function, look towards its owner, which should be the canister itself. So check if this object itself has an interact function. If it does not, seek towards its owner. All right, so we're going to do interact if this has method interact. Then we're going to do this. Else check owner for interact stuff. Okay, then if get owner has method interact, then we're going to do stuff on the owner instead. So we're going to set the interact label, except we will be borrowing that data from here. And then if the button is pressed, we're going to be getting the owner to run that interact function. Okay, now, is that going to conflict with our generic item? Generic item does not seem to have interact text or interact function, so I think that's good. This means I can take this oxy top up thing. I'm going to copy item ID. We're going to extend the script. Scripts, inventory items, oxy top up. Cool, it maintained its item ID. Nice. Beautiful. So we'll do this. Func. Actually, no. First, var interact text equals top up oxygen. If I can spell it. There we go. Man, my fingers have dyslexia, god damn it. We're sorry. Your fingers are too fat to dial this number. Okay. Let's pass for now. Let's print to see. Top up used. So at least we'll know if it's working. And I believe when the player uses the interact, sends a reference of itself. So that is received here. Nice. Testing time. Just gonna call this interact area. Alrighty. Okay, take. That does seem to be working quite well. Why is that not working? It is an area, just like in salutation. Salutation is a part of a group called interact underscore group. This oxystation, interact underscore group. Interact. Okay. No, this wouldn't pass unless it is a part of the group called interact group. Is the item? No, the item is a part of inventory item group. That's different. So maybe that failed then. Interact text. It would have crashed if it failed to grab that information. The shape does extend past the collision shape of the base object. This is an area node, right? Yes. Should be working. And yet it doesn't. The only way to test... I guess we can place a breakpoint. Let's say interact group. Let's place it right here. So it has to pass at least this. Oh, hold on. I know why. I know why. We've never used... See, dang it. We've never used collision shapes, collision layers in extensive, well, extensively. So I keep forgetting the fact that you have to place anything that is interactable onto a separate collision layer. What is it? Interactables layer 7. Man. Okay. So you exist on layer 7. You do not scan anything. There we go. Okay, so we take. Well, it tried something. Oh, it tried to do the breakpoint, so that means it's detecting this much. Okay. Top up oxygen. Beautiful. Okay. Just for good measure, I'm going to take this, that. We have the body material. We're going to do another one. Assign these things that color. There we go. And then we'll export. Suplinaris, engine. Yes. Models, inventory, Oxy top-up station. Make sure that it only exports selections and it doesn't export materials, only slots. I don't need this anymore. This was from like several hours ago when I was looking for the texture for the rock formations. Come on. Any day now. Any day now. Come on. Man, I don't know what's happening. The right times. The right times are kind of ludicrous. Okay. Go back here. Oxy top up, and now we have an... Oh. It exported the empties. While they will not hurt us, I don't want them. This time was fast. Yes. Okay, we're gonna do orange. So that just showcases an intractable zone. Cool. Now, we have the player, and the player has their oxygen amount. Oxygen display. Hunger display. This is for smooth transitioning it. Oxygen, and it's 100. Max oxygen. Got it. Okay. So when we interact, we know that we have this oxygen pop-up. It needs to have an amount. Okay, it needs to have an amount. Shall we make the oxygen top-up canisters not be pick-upable? So once you deploy them, you cannot pick them back up. They're like one-time use. That might actually be an interesting approach to it. Huh. Would have like a custom animation where the player takes out the canister and then like pulls a lever, like a disengagement lever, and then it's going to deploy the ballast or something, or deploy the canister, and then you won't be able to pick it back up again. Because I don't want the players just grabbing like 5 of these canisters and then placing one, going down, placing another, going back up, picking up the first one, going further down, and then just like daisy chaining them like you do bags in Payday. I want them to be a bit limited, but act as checkpoints. Okay. Let's do the top up first. So we know that once we deploy an oxygen station, it cannot be picked back up. Why is that important? It's important because that determines where we store the amount that the top-up station contains. If we could pick it back up, then we have to make sure that the remaining oxygen that sits in these top-up stations goes back into the inventory. But since this is a one-time deployable, we can store that information directly in the top-up. So Oxygen amount. Let's give it 1000, for example. Okay. Oxygen. Nice. Oxygen max. 1000. Good. Now, when we interact, we will take the difference. So player node oxygen. That's how much they have. And then we are going to take the maximum oxygen that the player's allowed to have, subtract how much they have remaining. Max oxygen, oxygen. Nice. That gives us the difference. We are then going to take the oxygen amount from this. Oxygen amount, excuse me, we're talking to the player. It's getting late. Oxygen amount from this node, we're going to subtract from it the difference. And then we are going to add to the player's oxygen that difference. Now, process. We have this bar here. We are going to be scaling it on the y-axis. Okay. So we're going to do var bar scalar equals oxygen amount divided by oxygen max. And then we're going to talk to the fill bar, scale on the y-axis, and we're going to smoothly transition it to the bar scalar divided by 5. I think that's basically it. Okay, so, well, that worked. What little oxygen I've wasted, I've used up. Did get replenished, but such a small amount that we don't even see the bar reducing. Oh, actually, we see it a little bit. Teeny tiny little notch. Nice. There we go. We could probably do like little bubbles. We could actually turn this into some sort of a conduit. Maybe a little nozzle. And then we'll have bubbles coming out of it when we interact with it. Let's set that up real quick. 512, 512. Just gonna fill it with black so we can see what's happening. Okay. White. Add a transparency. And then we're gonna use digital airbrush. Okay. That is the idea. different software having different shortcuts. I'm just losing my mind over here. Trying to use Blender, Substance, Maya. Okay. Sure. I think that's good. We'll just use transparency here. Sublinaris, assets, sprites, Booble. Nope. Control Alt E is the shortcut I've set up to export. Engine, textures, painted, or I guess particles. Did I export as PNG? Control Alt E. Yes, I did. Okay, good. Good. I'm gonna do GPU particles. The draw pass is going to be quad mesh. Standard material. Bubble. Okay, and then alpha transparency. And then we're going to go particle material. As a matter of fact, before we move on there, we need to set the billboarding to be particle billboard. So it's always looking at us. Okay, and then while we're here, maybe also keep scale. So if we adjust the scale in the behavior, it will update it and actually be used by the shader. All right, so position that there. Let's say display turbulence. Oh, nice. It's recompiling the process. Okay. Noise spread random. Ah, man. This is really weird because it's actually affecting all particles even when it changes. It's still good to have the option, but not exactly what we need. Okay. Velocity. Maximum velocity. Scale. 0.1, 0.5. Maybe explosiveness. Yeah, that could work. Set the amount 16. Let's reduce that turbulence. That's a little bit better. Okay. That's always being shot sideways. So I think this is for spawn velocity. We're just gonna do on the z-axis. -1. Yep, okay. Set it to a little bit less. Sure. I am gonna duplicate it. Place it 180 degrees. It would be nice if I knew which one I have interacted with, so that we can only turn on that particular one. We could, hypothetically, make the player send an additional parameter, an optional parameter. So we're only using interact twice here. Let's say that when we interact, we're going to send the collider's own name into the function. This way we would know what it is that we're interacting with. Now this means we need to find every place where we used interact function and then make sure that the function can accept a secondary parameter, even if it doesn't use it. This would allow us to create very complex interactable components without having to program each interactable object as a separate, well, script, and as a separate static body. Okay, so that seems like a pretty reasonable improvement. I think we've already dabbled with something like this, but we did it really finicky. We did like indices, which means we had to store the indices too. Okay, well, that's fine. So let's go top up station. We're going to make this, let's do this. So bubble left, bubble right, even though that is technically subjective. We're going to make sure that these are one shot. Okay, they will auto-disable themselves. Now, after we interact with this, we're going to get node. We're going to use the name of the node that we've received here. Set emitting to true. What is it called? EMITT. Yes, emitting true, and that should technically work. Now we only want to do this if amount is above 0. And the difference, if difference is above or equals to oxygen amount, then we're just going to work with the difference. Otherwise, player node oxygen is going to get whatever amount remains. Amount is going to be set to 0. 0. And then I think here we can actually set the gravity scale to 1.0, which means it's actually going to start falling down. I think that might be fun. Okay, this might work. Let's reduce this to 100 for testing purposes. Let's give it a try. Okay. I think we're loading something. Nice. Top up. No, we failed. Is it not getting the node? It is not getting the node. Invalid type function. Oh, emitting get node on base rigid body 3D. Can I convert argument 1 from string name to node path? From string name. Ah, right. It wants string name. Really? Now that's curious. It says, oh, the name of it is interact area. Right. Okay. Right. I goofed up. Ever since we're using two separate collisions, we're gonna call them bubble left. I'm just gonna do it. Oh, actually, let's do this. Interact left. Okay. The shape is gonna be reduced. Duplicate. Interact right. This we're gonna place here, but we can still use the name of the node to interact with it, because we're gonna do this. We're gonna call the node names interact left bubble part, and then interact right bubble part. So this is the name of the interactable that's going to be sent. So all we need to do is append bubble part to it, and then we should be able to get the name of the node correctly, like this, as long as the data type is correct. Get node. Now what was weird is that it didn't say that it couldn't find the node, it said the data type was incorrect, which is a little concerning. Oh, come on. Nice. Oh, well, hello. It just fell down. Let's go 0.5. But why did it use up everything? What was the difference? Player node oxygen, max oxygen, minus the oxygen they have left. Technically, that would be how much oxygen they need. If the difference is more than the amount, more or equals to the amount, then we would just do this. Subtract the amount from here, add the amount to the player. But it went straight for this. Oxygen max, 100. 100. Let's do a check here. Okay, so breakpoint. Cool. Let's pause now. So what do we have here? Oxygen amount is at 100. Step into. Player's oxygen is... well, come on, you can give me the value. What's the difference? 5. If the difference is over oxygen amount, which it can be, it cannot be, then step into... What? More or equals. Am I? Hold on. It's either really late and I'm stupid, or I'm just stupid. But isn't 5 more than 100? Huh? This is some programmer horror right here. What the hell? Okay, let's just sanity check. Let's try that again. Maybe the data type doesn't match. Or that's... Let's see. We drop this. We interact. Yes. Okay. We wait for Windows. Thank you. All right. So we're about to calculate difference. The difference is 5. We're about to check. Is 5... Oh. No. It did do the correct comparison. I am indeed dumb. And it's almost 1 in the morning. So yeah. Right. If... you know what? I know why. It's because I put the condition in a way that confuses me. If we have more oxygen than the difference, it's literally the proper check, but I word it out and I don't put it in the same order that I word it out. And when it gets late, these things matter. Okay, so if we have more oxygen than the difference that we need, we subtract that, and then we give the player that much oxygen. Cool. Otherwise, if the difference that we need is larger than the amount, we just have to work with the amount, with the remainder. Oh, okay, jeez. Oh my god, that's just embarrassing. Can I math? Apparently not. Boop. Okay. Okay, well, breakpoint. Right. You know. My bad. And there we go. Nice. So that works. And then if I go over here, top up from this end, it deploys from there. Perfect. Man, staying up is just as challenging. Which, I'm sure people are gonna complain about that, but that's part of the difference of how I'm handling it, how I wanted to handle it. Okay. Oh wow, the transparency of the bubbles is not being rendered in front of our ocean, or at least not always, which I think we can fix. We just need to set the material. Depth draw, always. Or maybe we could do additive blending. Who knows? Let's see. Drop this. Also, did my Keeper SOSD stop working? My shortcuts aren't showing. Hey, there we go. Now that's working. More or less. I can see the corners of the bubbles. That's not really what I wanted to do. Top up oxygen. Okay. Cool. What are we gonna do next? Next, I mean, running out of oxygen, right? What happens when you run out of oxygen? Hypothetical. Don't go off trying it. In Subnautica, you just kind of black out, which seems reasonable enough. was thinking something like a red ring, red vignette, and then you black out. Huh. Ooh, we could increase our screen wobbliness, the shimmering, and then introduce the vignette and then black it out. Huh. That could potentially work. What else can we do? Maybe some sort of an overlay. Let's see. It's like veins. Okay, but we're gonna blur it out. Okay, like that. Nice. Then we're gonna do some sort of a post-processing effect here, maybe. And then we also need just the actual tunnel vision. I don't have any pen pressure. The tunnel vision is going to sink in after. We might even be able to do this as an animation. Okay, so it's a multi-layered thing. Let's, at least as a starting point, I think this will work. Let's do assets, sprites, UI, drown effect. Okay, so there's two things. Whoop, again, with the merging. Engine, sprites, UI, drown. Okay, so drown effect, vignette, and then this is going to be drown effect streaks. This we can probably handle within the player. Okay, UI. Maybe even a separate canvas layer. So we display it on top. Let's see. 11. Texture rect. We're going to set it to full dimensions. Okay, drown vignette. place that here. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. And then drown streaks. Because these are separate effects, let's work on the streaks first. So this is going to be... Oh, that's weird. That seems to be outside. Fit width. There we go. Okay, so the streaks are not supposed to be stationary. They are supposed to squiggle and wiggle. So shader effect, new shader. Yeah, let's go coded. That's fine. So shaders. Okay. So this is drown streaks shader. Okay. We're going to start by giving it a shader. Our uniform sampler 2D noise. And this is going to be repeat enabled. Okay, let's give it a noise texture 2D. And simplex noise, or fast noise. There we go. Cool. What do we do with this? Well, is the color property the color of the incoming pixels from here? Let's see, color, texture. We want texture, maybe not. And then UVs. Well, okay. Plus 0.2. Let's see. Shift, shift. Nice. So that's what we want to do. Okay. So we're going to take the noise texture. It's a vector. It's a float. Well, actually, no. Is it? Let's keep it a float for now. Float N. Texture noise. We're going to use the UV. Okay. And then we're going to take... okay. We need to make sure that we only use one of the color channels. There we go. And we're going to take UVs plus N. And that's what we get. So that's our noise distorting this value. We're going to multiply it by 0.01. Now, next, we need to offset it. So we're going to subtract 0.5. Okay, that causes to get it shifted. Black is 0, white is 1. By shifting this, we get negative 0.5, positive 0.5. Cool. We need to move this. So plus time times 0.02. We need to make sure the noise is seamless. Is it actually this side even? Doesn't seem like it. Oh god. That's just gnarly. Interesting. It would be kind of cool if we could make it from the top it goes down, from the bottom it goes up. Maybe we can do that. Sine UV Y. Right. Probably don't want it on both axes. Vector 2, 1, and then sine UVY. Actually, Y is always positive. It's the UVs go from 0 to 1. So we need to subtract 0.5 from it. Hey. Okay. Okay, and I think I can repeat the same process for the X. We're actually extremely lucky that we managed to get this to work. That's because we have a very incomplex, very generic texture here. There you go. Look at that. So it looks like it's floating into it. Now, if we had anything more complex than this, we can kind of see that right here there's a seam where the negative value goes into the positive value, and it switches directions, right? So there's the seam. We could simply shift. We got lucky on this side. There's nothing here. We have a bit of a seam over here, but again, you can't even really see it that much. We can take, let's say we take this guy. Okay, we'll move it up. Okay, it's kind of a shame that these things are all in the same layer. Just do this. 5 to reset rotation. Everything up there is okay. Right. Actually, we have mirroring. Nice. Okay. Don't merge. Export. Thank you. There we go. So that's out of the way. Nice big space there. Cool. So we got a little lucky here. We can increase that effect. Nice. The more advanced, or the more, I would say, mathematically correct way to do it would be to calculate the direction based on, let's say, the offset of the pixel from the center, which we would do like sine and cosine to calculate the y and x offset, and then use that as the direction. But you know what? This will work just fine. Now, I'd like to add more wiggle to it. I'm going to add n2. We would like to multiply, or would like to multiply by 0.2 in order to make the distortion quite a bit stronger. So let's add n2 here. Might be a bit much because we haven't multiplied it by 0. 0. Whatever. That looks cool. But unfortunately, it's revealing the breaks. Okay, so maybe we can do the aforementioned, let's see, vector 2, direction, and that's going to be we need to calculate the difference between sine. Is it sine? No. Sine and cosine would need to be provided with a angle and distance. We don't have that information. We just have the coordinates of the UVs. So we could do offset x, which is going to be UV x, the difference between, let's say, 0.5 and the UV on the x-axis. offset y is the same thing except 0.5, which is the center, minus UV on the y-axis. And then how would we leverage this here? It's not a vector 2, it's a float. Okay, and then when we're calculating, let's start with n, let's keep this here, and then n2, we're gonna calculate here right now. So it's equals to texture plus UV, UV times 0.2 to scale it up. I say times, so I write gibberish, that's nice. And then plus vector 2 time multiply offset x, and then time multiply offset y. I don't know if this is going to work. What are we missing? Vector 4. Ah, right. We just need the red channel. Oh. That's really weird. Wouldn't it actually be this? Because that's what we did here. Nope. You know what? I guess that makes sense because we're just adding time multiplied by the offset of individual pixel. No, that doesn't seem to work. Center point. I guess we could just, do something simple like vector 2 or just time times 0.2. This needs to be quite a bit less extreme though. Sure. Now what does it look like without again? That's what it looks like without. And this is with. Okay. That's fair enough. Now how do we make it expand? That I think we can make very quite simply by using this divided by 2, this divided by 2, and then scaling it up. Nah. It's not as good as what I figured it would look like. Cool. All right, let's try this. Take a gradient. Actually, take a black color first. And then we take a gradient. New layer, white. Which, you know, if we want to paint a gradient, should probably use a gradient tool. We do this to the edge, enable the black color. We are going to scale this until it touches the edges. And then do this, expand it. All right. No, don't merge. Okay, so this is control gradient. Let's call it drown control gradient. Alrighty. For that, we're gonna need this. We're gonna need another sampler port to be able to supply this into the shader. So material. Okay. Can we do what? Alpha? Opacity? No. So I guess the color value here is just going to be RGBA. So we want to modify this. So vector 4 final color equals this times vector 4 1 1 1, and then we would like to use the alpha, or I guess just the red channel of the gradient as the alpha data. Vector 4. Invalid member 4, sampler to d expression.r. Yes, it would make sense because we actually need to convert this to a texture. And then we take the gradient, place it here, and then supply UVs, and then we can access the red channel. There we go. That's what that looks like. Now, black, we're supposed to reveal it from the other side. So I think I can do 1.0 minus this. Okay, so that inverts it. And now we need another uniform. Let's see. Squiggle fade 0.0 uniform float. So we're gonna be adding these values together. Maybe like this. And you can see that allows us to fade it in. We can even overdrive it, which just looks like a bunch of dicks encompassing from all your angles. Jeez. Okay. -1. Hey, Vishal. Welcome to the desert. Cool, so we can fade it in this way. That's good, except I would like to offset it. So let's do plus -1.0 plus this amount. So if it's 0, then we got nothing. And then once we start building it up, yes. Beautiful. Okay. Now, we're going to add animation player. Okay. This animation player is going to have a single animation called drown sequence. Okay. Now, in the drown sequence, we're going to start by adding the squiggle streaks. Yep. Bezier curves. We might not have to use it. Let's do 10 seconds. It's not actually going to be 10 seconds long. We're just going to have an animation that has plenty of horizontal space. 1.0. So when we do this, you can see the animation controls how much we're doing this. As a matter of fact, you know, I could quite literally just launch this animation. If our oxygen reaches 0, we can launch this animation, so it gives us 10 seconds. And if it reaches 0, then we die. I was considering just seeking through the timeline forward and backward, but I don't think we have to do that. This is pretty much perfect. Now, when it comes to this, I actually want this to feel a lot more like a lot more like heartbeat, maybe. If we if I make it like heartbeat, we might have to do that. How would we do that? So it's kind of like this. So it's a sharp start. Right? I mean, the simplest thing would be to place an animation node, animation player inside. This is drown vignette heartbeat. A part of me is disgusted about what I'm doing, but a part of me is like, whatever, man. The nodes are there, use them. All right, we're gonna do self-modulate. This is gonna be drown vignette heartbeat animation. Self-modulate. Yep. So it starts at 0, goes to 1, goes back to 0. Yes. Uh-huh. But there's a problem. Maybe it should be 0.5 instead of all the way 0. And then we're going to make it a looping animation. Oh god, that's unnerving. 1.5. All right, and then if we go here, self-modulate, so we have it starting here, and then it slowly starts increasing. Jeez. Maybe we can even do some sort of a chromatic aberration effect. I think we can even push it past the maximum. Let's see. Let's get modulate. Oh, hold on. We're not supposed to do it here. We're supposed to do it right here. Can we do it past the maximum? 2? Huh. Apparently. Oh, yeah. Look at that. And it just stacks up. So it just becomes black all around. Okay. Well, there you go. And then this here has to be 0. If not, might even have to be like -1. Nope, 0 is fine. So then it starts going like this. Okay, now where are my squiggles? Ah, squiggles are disabled. Look at that. It's like reaching out. I guess the final stroke would be the full-on blackout. So we're gonna do black. Okay, brown, black. We're gonna add color. Zero. We don't need other channels. Okay, that's supposed to go in the opposite direction. That is 1. That is 0. Duplicate. Place it in the beginning. There we go. Beautiful. Maybe we'll do like 11 seconds. Give them an extra second. Okay, so this is drown sequence animation player. Let's give it animation finished. Send it to the player. It's going to be right at the bottom. Cool. And then for now, we're just going to do get tree, reload current scene. So obviously we're going to have to show some sort of a main menu, loading screen, or loading system. But for now, this is what we got. Cool. And now where do we control oxygen? Okay. Oxygen, inside vessel, oxygen display, and then this is where we lose a bit of oxygen. If oxygen is less or equals to 0, health, start losing health. And then we're going to talk to this node. We're going to play it if this node isn't already busy playing it. Is playing, false. Then we're going to tell it to play, so it doesn't get re-triggered. Even though technically I believe that you can't make it re-trigger, but this is just for, you know, good measure. Which means if dead is true, return. No need to be killing the player over and over and over again. And the dead variable has to actually exist. Cool. So when the animation runs out, yeah, dead is true. I suppose we don't need to reload the level. We'll just make dead become true, which means cancel input. If dead, return, and then physics process. If dead, return. No movement, no camera controls. Interact process, which I think is just called by regular process. Okay. All right, let's take a look. I hope I reset the... I did not reset the... Reset. Alpha. Supposed to be value of 0. This. Drown vignette, 0. Drown streaks, 0. Okay. Ah. These elements are blocking our mouse. Ignore. Something is still blocking our mouse. Okay. What is? Ignore. Something else that I've added recently. Oh, probably, yeah, probably this. This is layer 10. And then def panel, OSTs, this would be layer 6. Well, we're gonna have to put this above, because otherwise we have too many shenanigans with player's inventory. Nice, there we go, that works. So the problem is that now all these items are displayed behind. Not that big of a deal. It's fine. It's okay. I could always place the icon on a separate canvas layer node and then place that above everything. To learn more shortcuts. Also, that particle just flew right in my face and just flashbanged me. We need to set up proximity fade. Watch it crash as soon as it starts the animation. Okay, it should start now. You got 10 seconds. Oh, I think I see it. I think I see it pulsating. No? Yes? Yeah, I would have done it by now. Oh, actually, we see an error. Oxygen timer timeout. Animation not found. Huh? Oh, right. What are we playing? I don't know. Just play anything, whatever. Leave me alone. Drown _ sequence. Thank you. Carry on. Who's the musician? Musician is me. I'm writing the music. The sound effects, for now, Cole is the sound engineer for Dreadtail. So he's doing sound and some ambient stuff, like ambient sound effects that are emanating from various locations. But I'm doing the music. I call dibs on the music. That's the sole purpose why I got into game development. So, I think it's this one. Yes. I like this soundtrack. I might actually end up going on the... Oh man, it's 1 in the morning. But I want to go on a nice walk with dumbbells. It's going to be a little sketchy, but I need to go on the walk. My ass is square. I said that much today. We got a lappily lotta done today. Holy cow. I can't even speak. And Godot is freaking awesome. Just to be able to do this. Oh. There we go. Ow. Okay, so it's a little too fast, and also I didn't see the streaks. I think the streaks need to come in first. So drone sequence. Drown vignette. Oh. This starts here. And also it's too fast. Let's do 20 seconds. Okay, so first 10 seconds we see the streaks. Next. Next we start seeing the vignette. And then it adds blackout. All right. Let's try that again. Yeah, once we litter the floor with all sorts of fauna, geo shapes, I think it's gonna look pretty good. Okay, that the vignette does not actually play That's because we need to make it autoplay. Okay. Autoplay and loop. Whew. Man. When you only have one day to get this stuff sorted out. We hauling ass over here. I didn't get to do caustics though. And also, yes, I could speed up the process of drowning to test it, but I want to listen to the music and swim a little bit. Need to increase that back to 1,000. And we're dead. Cool. All right, that's it. That's it. We got the first hint of something that is a gameplay mechanic, which is making sure that we maintain our oxygen. Otherwise, up until this point, it was just the bar. There was no consequences to letting it run out. So as of this point, things are going to start feeling a little bit more game-like. Cool. All right, that's it. We'll continue this in the next one, next Friday. And ooh, man, once you get into the zone, you don't want to leave. But damn, if I spend more time on this project tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, that means other projects will be ignored, and that's not good. I'm gonna feel bad about it. So probably also not a good idea to end the development on some sort of a hiccup, because that's gonna happen. We got a good note, good place to end it on. So we'll continue on this next Friday. Cool. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll continue this and appreciate the company.